Hey everyone, welcome back to Bigfoot Lake. Tonight's story was sent in by a listener named Caleb, who told us he debated for years about sharing this experience. He said it happened when he was 17, and that the encounter changed the way he thinks about the woods forever. So pull up a stump closer to the fire. This is his story, word for word, just the way he sent it to us. My name is Caleb, and I grew up in a tiny town in northern Idaho. If you blink while driving through the place, you'll miss it. But the woods, those go on forever. Everyone in my family hunts, camps, and knows the forest like the back of their hand. Or, at least we thought we did. This happened in late August, about 6 years ago. Me, my cousin Travis, and our buddy Shane decided we were going to take our four-wheelers out to Miller's Pond for the weekend. It's not a big pond, just this murky little stretch of water tucked between thick pine trees and a rocky ridge. Perfect for fishing, swimming, and mostly getting away from our parents. We loaded up our gear and drove the quads out there. Got to the pond around 5 in the evening. The air smelled like warm pine and the lake mud, and the water was so still it looked like black glass. We set up camp right on the north side of the pond. Same place my dad used to take me when I was a kid. Nothing weird, nothing creepy, just a quiet, late summer weekend. Or so we thought. This is where things start to shift. After camp was set, the sun dipped low behind the ridge and everything got that golden glow. Travis was skipping rocks across the pond while Shane set up the fire pit. I remember thinking how peaceful it all felt. Then, right as the last bit of daylight started to fade, we heard something. A rock, a big one, splash down into the pond on the opposite side from us. At first we all thought it was Travis messing around, but he was standing right next to me. Shane looked up and said, "Did you toss one?" Travis shook his head. Another rock hit the water, harder this time. A deep, heavy kerlunk, like someone dropped a bowling ball into the pond. I remember laughing nervously, trying not to look freaked out, and saying probably just a beaver or something. But inside, I knew no beaver throws rocks. We shrugged it off and started the fire. At around 10, the stars were out, and we were sitting around the flames, telling dumb stories and roasting marshmallows. Every once in a while, we'd hear the splash of another rock hitting the water. But each time we pointed the flashlights across the pond, nothing moved. The tree line stayed still. Eventually, we crashed out in our tents. The forest got quiet. Too quiet. Anyone who camps a lot knows that nights in the woods are actually loud. Crickets, frogs, and wind. But that night, it felt like everything was holding its breath. That first night, I woke up maybe 2 in the morning because I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, crunching through the gravel, right near our four-wheelers. At first, I thought it was a black bear, but bears don't walk like that. These footsteps, they had rhythm. 2 feet. Step, crunch. Step, crunch. Whatever it was big. I could hear Travis and Shane breathing heavy in their tents. No one moved. I didn't dare unzip mine. I just lay there frozen, listening as it circled the camp. I swear I heard it sniff, this long, wet, dragging inhale right near my tent wall. Then it walked back towards the pond. I heard the reeds rustle, and then another enormous rock hit the water. Kerlunk! I didn't sleep again. When the sun came up, everything seemed normal, almost like the woods were pretending nothing happened. We ate breakfast, we joked around, and eventually decided to take the four-wheelers up the ridge trail. The higher up you go, the better view of the pond and of the valley below. But here's the thing. Halfway up the trail, we saw something that made all three of us stop dead. Footprints. Not boot prints, not bear prints, but human-shaped footprints. And they were huge and deep. At least 14 inches long, maybe more, and pressed almost an inch into the packed dirt. "Dude, what the hell?" Shane whispered. Travis tried to be tough, kicking the dirt and saying it was probably a joke, but his voice cracked when he said it. We kept going, but the whole day felt off. Birds would start chirping and then suddenly go silent. We all felt like we were being watched. I kept turning around, expecting to see someone behind us. By the time we got back to camp that evening, it felt like the trees were leaning in closer, like the whole forest was listening. On the second night, things got worse. That night, we didn't bother telling stories. The fire burned low, and all of us kept glancing across the pond. At around 11, right when we started thinking about turning in, we heard a scream. But it wasn't human, and it wasn't an animal you'd ever want to run into. A deep, guttural roar echoed across the pond, rolling through the trees and vibrating the ground under our feet. We all jumped up. Shane grabbed his flashlight, Travis grabbed the hatchet, and I grabbed the only weapon I had, a rusted camping knife my dad had given me. The scream came again, closer this time. Then we heard branches snapping across the pond. Something massive was moving through the trees, moving fast. "Get to the four-wheelers," I whispered. We tried to stay quiet as we backed up, but that's when we heard it. Thud, thud, thud. Something was running toward the water. The surface of the pond started to ripple. Then it rippled harder. Then something large slammed into the water, so hard that waves hit the shoreline on our side. It wasn't a rock this time. It was a whole damn tree trunk. That was all it took. Shane fired up his quad, and the rest of us followed. The engines roared to life, echoing across the pond. But right as we turned the headlights towards the opposite shore, we saw it. Just for a split second. A tall, hulking silhouette standing between the trees. Easily 7 or 8 feet tall. Broad shoulders, long arms, hair hanging off of it like dripping moss, and glowing amber eyes staring straight at us. "Go!" I screamed. We tore off into the woods, the quads bouncing over rocks and roots. But the thing, it ran along the shoreline next to us, keeping pace. I could hear it breathing loud, heavy, like a bull. At one point, I swear I saw it leap over a fallen log, like it weighed nothing. We didn't stop until we reached the main trail road, 3 miles from the camp. By then, we couldn't hear it anymore. The woods had gone silent again. We decided to go back for our gear that next morning with my uncle and a couple of his buddies. They were all armed. We didn't tell them what happened right away, just said that we had gotten spooked by a big animal. When we got back to camp at sunrise, the place was destroyed. Our tents were shredded, coolers smashed open, food gone, deep footprints all around the fire pit. And right at the edge of the pond, a line of massive rocks stacked in a perfect circle, almost like a marker or a warning. My uncle looked at the footprints, the damage, the rocks, and finally said, "Boys, pack up, now." He never asked questions, and we never offered answers. We never camped at Miller's Pond again. I don't even drive past the road that leads out there. Travis still pretends it was a bear, but he doesn't look anyone in the eye when he says it. Shane swears he saw the thing's face, says its eyes followed him all the way down the shoreline. As for me, I know what we saw. I know what threw those rocks, what tracked us, and what screamed across the water. I don't care what anyone says. Bigfoot is real. And whatever lives out by Miller's Pond, it does not want company. So that was Caleb's story. If you've had an encounter of your own, whether it being Bigfoot or cryptid or just the unknown, send it to us. Your story could be the next one featured here on Bigfoot Lake. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and keep your fire burning.